my vote for that legislation was based on two things. It was based on information that we were getting from the Obama administration at that time. This is when that vote took place, I believe in 2015 or 16, where the question was about the vetting process for refugees coming into this country, which is already rigorous. And what the bill said is that, I believe it was the Department of Homeland Security, but the administration would need to certify that that vetting took place to make sure that we don't have, members of Al-Qaeda abusing our refugee system to come into our country and to pose a threat. And so we questioned the administration on this and why they were opposed to that, because it seemed on its face as a no-brainer that the vetting process exists to make sure that the program is not abused. And their response to us was, well, we'd have to hire more people to do that. That was their argument. Said, okay, well, if we want to make sure that the process works and you need more people to do that, why don't you ask Congress for the resources to do that? They didn't really have an answer. So to me, that was not an acceptable argument. My vote for that was to say, if our system doesn't work, then the whole thing shuts down. And we saw that during the Obama administration, actually during the Bush administration, I believe, when there were two people who came into our country as refugees, Kansas or Kentucky, one of those states, where they went, and then they started plotting an attack against the United States from from wherever they were. They were caught. There was no attack. There was nothing that happened. But when they were caught, no refugees from any country were let in for, I believe, 6 months to a year. The entire system shut down. So if there are holes in our system, it actually threatens the entire refugee program, rather than actually saying, let's make sure our system is working so that we can welcome in refugees who are seeking asylum in this country. So that's where there's misunderstandings about both why that bill came about, as well as my vote on it. It was to strengthen our refugee system, to make sure that we would not again be in a position where every person who wants to come and seek asylum in this country would end up being blocked if and when that system would shut down again, as it had in the past. My record in Congress is strong, as I've joined with my colleagues to get more funding for our refugee program, to be able to welcome in more people into this country, and denouncing the actions of this administration in drastically reducing the numbers of people who are allowed to come in and seek asylum here.
So did that legislation it involve something about you needed a background check from like the Assad government?
No.
It didn't,
no.
Right? Okay, because
no.
somebody said
it was purely
that's
no, because
crazy because the Assad's never going to give a background check for a refugee.
And how could no? I mean,
okay, because
that doesn't make any sense at all.
I was like, that's got to be your
thing. We would not have any input or information no, that would have been ridiculous.
So
it was purely on the administration, saying certify that the vetting program, the vetting system that is in place works.
Right. Okay.
That's what it did.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then they didn't want to supply the employees to make sure that that vetting system could work.
They didn't want to take responsibility for saying, yes, I certify that this works, unless they had more resources to do so.
Right.
But they also were not asking for more resources to do so.